Well, everybody, I'm back and I'm really excited. And we have a powerful guest in the house. And have you been thinking about money? Have you been talking about money? Have you been concerned about money? Well, we have the money doctor in the house, my very special guest, and I reached out to him specifically because I love his wisdom, his wealth, but I love his vibration of really wanting to serve and elevate people. But my very special guest is Mr. Joy Solomon. He's a prosperity coach, international speaker, and former head fund manager, and he helps folks to rewrite their money stories and a true and achieve a true financial success. He's known as the money doctor. He blends Wall Street wisdom with the laws of attraction to help clients break all of those limiting beliefs and manifest abundance with ease and joy. He's the author of three best-selling books. I think he's written another one. And he's going to tell us about that. And he has appeared on all kind of podcasts. Let's see. He's been featured in the Wall Street Journal, Forbes, U.S. News, and World Report, Bloomberg Radio, and more than 150 podcasts. And before he became this wonderful prosperity coach, he was a hedge fund manager and managed a 700 million, that's a M, y'all, portfolio for a city generating positive returns even back in the day in 2008. Yeah, I remember what 2008 was like when the market crashed 40%. And later he founded his own hedge fund. So we have a doctor in the house. And as I said, let me just say something I know about him. He really wants to serve people. He really wants to help. It's not about the money to him. And I have interviewed him about three times, and I watch and follow him, and he has the right spirit. So, George Solomon, welcome to the Divine Manifestation Pathway podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Constance. It's truly an honor and pleasure to be here with you.
Well, I have so many questions for you, so let's just get right to it. So, what do you feel like, or what do you sense folk are saying around money and prosperity these days?
Oh, there's a lot of struggle out there. People are struggling to make ends meet. There's this, you know, everywhere people are worried and fearful about their money situation. Now, it's a little bit biased because people come to me when they're struggling. People come to me for help. But I spoke last Thursday at an event, about 120 people there. 25 people signed up for calls with me. I've done probably 18 or 20 of them already this week. And it's people are struggling. They're not coming to me to like, okay, I want to compound my money at 100% this year. They want to get help with their mindset, with how can I pay my bills? And so there is this feeling of lack and scarcity that's quite prevalent. And you see it on the news. I don't watch the news, but I'm sure it's all over that. And inflation. I was talking about this with a client just before this call. The quote unquote official inflation is 3%. And then I see gas at the tank and it's up 30% in the last few weeks. I see, just food and eggs and things up 100% in the last 5 years. So inflation's not running 2 or 3%. And so people have to increase their earnings in order to keep up.
Okay, so before I started this call, I said to you, Joel, there's a difference between Wall Street and Main Street. So people who have invested on Wall Street, do they have a different mindset? And is the mindset the bottom line that people really need to shift and change? So what's the difference
Absolutely.
between Wall Street and Main Street?
Well, Wall Street is focused on investing, compounding your money, making your money work hard for you. And Main Street, people work hard for their money.
Hmm.
And there's no way to create financial freedom, I believe, if you're just working hard for your money. I don't know anyone who's working two or three jobs who's financially free. You know, we're taught work hard and become rich and successful. I will tell you it's working smarter, more productively, and having your money work for you. That's what Wall Street's all about. And I have an Invest Smart engine which I created last year for people who want to compound their money quicker. They don't if they don't want to learn about my 5 step proprietary stock screen, they get the results and they've been able to compound their money. At least the clients that have signed up in the last 11 months have made 74% up to 200% on their investing. And so these people have the capital and then they're compounding their money much quicker than inflation, right? And the people who are on Main Street, they don't have the money to invest because they're living paycheck to paycheck, working harder, working two or three jobs. And so they're barely making ends meet. And yes, it comes down to mindset because if you believe that you have to work really, really hard to get rich and successful, then you're creating that. And if you believe that you can work smarter and more productively and have your money work for you, then you create that.
That's so powerful. So let's just get down to a specific example for someone who feels like they've been going paycheck to paycheck or they know they deserve more money. Let me ask you another question first. Is there unlimited money and abundance and prosperity available for everybody?
Absolutely. If you don't believe that, that's a limiting belief. I will tell you the net worth of this earth right now, if you add up all the businesses and individuals, is over $500 trillion. I
Wow.
can't. So, here how I couch trillion. So, $1 million is stacking dollar bills in the room I'm in from the floor to the ceiling. A billion is 1,000 of these rooms. That takes up a mile.
Mm,
A trillion is 1,000 miles of dollar bills.
mm,
That's getting me from New York to Atlanta, right? That's just 1 trillion. And now multiply that by 500. And now we're going from New York to California to Tokyo to Sydney to India. That's how much 500 trillion is. So it's that's how. And by the way, the amount of abundance on this earth is not just about the 500 trillion. It's about the amount of solar energy that comes from the sun,
mm.
which is in one day enough to power the earth, although we're not using it properly, for a whole year. It's the amount of blades of grass on every lawn around the earth. It's the amount of drops of water in every ocean around the world. It's the grains of sand on every beach. It's almost infinite. There's abundance everywhere you look, and yet people are struggling. People like we are living truly in the most abundant time on earth in the history of humanity. There are more opportunities right here. There you have access to 8.5 billion people right here on this internet, right? I mean, we have more opportunities today, more abundance than we've ever had before, and yet people are living in scarcity and lack. Why is that? Because of the mindset.
Wow. So let's deal with the mindset. What would a person or a listener need to do or be or become in order to move from lack, scarcity, not enough to abundance, prosperity, etc.? What would that look like?
Well, what I teach my clients first is putting together affirmations that they believe in,
Hmm.
not saying things you don't believe. And I'm a little bit different than other money mindset coaches. If you say I am financially free, some mindset coaches will say just say I am financially free over and over and over again. And yeah, you say that 10 times a day, 20 times a day. In 10 years, you may be financially free. But I'd rather have it come quicker and say things you believe. Because
Yes.
because you're doing this, you're trying to break through your subconscious and ego, which doesn't believe this, right? So you want to say things you believe. It's like, and initially say it in the future tense. In the near future, I will become financially free. And as you believe it more and more, you see things coming in that use the other techniques that I work with my clients on, and you're seeing money flow in from manifestations. Then you're like, oh wow, this could be really possible, and I will be financially free really soon. So you keep on making it stronger and stronger, and then you can say, I am financially free. So affirmations, acting as if is a very powerful technique.
What
So
would that look like?
so um, an example is, say not you have a side business, you're working full time and you have a side business that you want to get to replace your current earnings. Say you're making $8,000 a month in your corporate job, your job at a company, and you want to have a side gig that replaces that and maybe gets to 10,000 a month. So what would you do if you were making an extra 25%? You could do a splurge. So go onto your favorite online department store and find something that you're going to splurge on and put it in your shopping cart. Don't spend it. Act as if it's about to happen. Now, you have an extra $25,000 in your side business. It's now replaced your current job. Maybe you're going on vacation. Maybe you're going to go to Maui. So go online and check out the flights. Check out what hotel you're going to stay at. Check out the excursions, right? That's acting it. You don't have to spend any money, but it's about to happen. You're acting as if it's coming. So those are a few examples. And then just back to the comment about how people, are really, they have two or three jobs, they're living paycheck to paycheck. I have something called the budget game, which they can play. And it's also acting as if, right? It's like, okay, I have some debts, I have some credit card debt, I have some loans, I have a mortgage, um, and I'm really stressed about my money. So we play this budget game, and it's a game. So first of all, it just frees up, eliminates resistance. And secondly, whenever you enter the spreadsheet, you say this affirmation. And thirdly, you're going to double the smallest amount of minimum payment you have required on the smallest credit card balance. And people say to me, wait, I have more money going out than coming in. I can't double, even if it's $20, I can't double it to 40. And I say, let's act as if.
Hmm.
Because once you do that, you're sending a signal to the universe that surprise money is going to come in. And guess what? A surprise $20 will come in. I had a client do this a few years ago, and in 2 weeks, she manifested $160,000.
I love that. So when listeners or your clients are using affirmation, acting as if, etc., is that shifting and changing those core beliefs that have been housed in their subconscious for decades? What's happening there?
Yeah, I mean, we are, what I do is I upgrade people's money software.
Mm.
And I don't say you need to go looking for some invisible limiting belief like rich people are criminals. We're just going to instill new empowering beliefs like rich people are kind, caring, and out to help you. Right. And so because it's like going back to 1995 and trying to debug 1,000 line program, right? It's just not efficient. Let's just instill the new program, right? Get rid of the old program. And so that's what we're doing, right? We're up leveling the money software. We're getting rid of that malware and up leveling it so that you can live a different life, believe. And so we work on beliefs. We do the acting as if and affirmations. I have audio files, and there's a lot of other techniques. I have specific techniques on that we do for manifestation. And what happens, see, I've been having this conversation a lot this last week with all these people that I met at that speech I gave. Um, Almost everyone on this earth has this attitude of when I see it, I'll believe it.
Yeah.
And so they come in a little bit skeptical working with me. And then they manifest this guy who I just was on, my last client, 1 week, $750, right? And he was pretty skeptical coming to work with me. He's like, Joel, I'm terrified. I'm really terrified about my money situation. I'm terrified about paying you any money. And I said, okay, but let's get started because that's why you need my help because you're terrified. So 1 week, $750. Now his belief level is like an eight. It was a three. Now it's an eight. He saw it and he believed it. I really prefer to work with people who believe it already, right? If you already believe it, the seeing part happens really quickly. But there are people who, and it's 90% of the world, okay, when I see it, I'll believe it. And so I show them video testimonials. I show them written testimonials. I get them in front of past clients, but all of that helps, but not to the extent of if when they experience it themselves. And that's when the seeing is believing.
And so you mentioned seeing. So how can people begin to see and feel in their mind and imagination, I have money? Do you help clients with that?
Yeah, I mean, so I teach 12 different manifestation techniques, and one of them is visualization. And we teach the proper way to visualize, right? And people may be visualizing or heard about it, but there's a 6 step process plus the bonus step. I can give you the 6 steps.
Okay, I would love that.
My one-on-one clients get the bonus step for a big fee. But yeah, it's really important to do it right and also to not attach.
Hmm.
Because when you have this kind of energy and you're attaching, that creates resistance, right? So I want you to have the childlike curiosity attitude. Let's try it. Let's see. It's worked. Joel says it's worked for dozens of clients. I'll try it too and see what happens. Whereas I got to make this work. I got to make this work. This white knuckling it doesn't serve you. So here are the 6 steps. Step one is to pick a time. I'd recommend like morning, not in bed right after you wake up. You could fall back to sleep, and not right before you go to sleep at night. You'll fall asleep. So pick a time and pick a place, not in bed. Okay. So in a chair, sitting up. Step three is to pick the amount of time. I would say 3 to 5 minutes. You want to take action, and I would call it inspired action after your visualization. You don't want to be doing this for an hour, right? You want to get out and take some inspired action after it. 3 to 5 minutes. Step four is to write down 3 of your dreams and desires first, and pick one for 30 days, right? Don't connect three. So don't be driving your blue convertible Maserati Gran Turismo up I-95 with your dream spouse on the way to your dream house, right? It's one, pick one. The dream house, the dream spouse, the dream car. And you're going to think about that for 30 days. So that's step four. Step five is from Wayne Dyer's book, Wishes Fulfilled. Make your future dream a present reality by assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. So let me say it again. Make your present reality, make your future dream a present reality by assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. So you want to feel it now, whatever that future dream is. If you could get into the feeling of gratitude and happiness and appreciation before that blue convertible Maserati Gran Turismo is in your garage, awesome. And then step six is to, if you can picture yourself in the dream. So you're having an out of body experience. You're looking down, and your hair is blowing in the wind because you have more hair than I do. And you're like the top's down and you're like, so experience this. So happy. So yeah, having looking down on yourself. I usually tend to be looking out. It's quicker. I believe the manifestation is quicker if you can look down on yourself and see it. So those are the six steps. And let me know how it goes.
What else would you like to share with people? Because you mentioned earlier, right now there are so many opportunities, but many people don't see that.
I
Expound
mean,
on that
yeah.
for me.
Well, look, I mean, TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, LinkedIn, Facebook, all these YouTube, you can get a following, get some advertisers, and start making passive income from any of that. You can put up a course on your website and you spend maybe 8, 10, 20 hours doing it. And that's for the rest of eternity, that's passive income. You write a book and now it's online and people find it and they purchase. I get checks from Amazon every month.
Me too. Hmm.
So so that's passive income. So creating passive income opportunities is just hasn't it hasn't ever been like this, right? And so having all these social media platforms, you know, now we have AI, right? And you could, I'm not saying rely on it 100%, but you can create posts, uh, video, be real, all this stuff like instantaneously. This was amazing to me. I put into ChatGPT 10 of my sales calls. They were 30 minutes each. They must have been 15 pages. And I said, analyze these sales calls and tell me my blind spots. And it happened instantly. I mean, it wasn't like 10 seconds. It just spewed out like all the things I could do better. And so we have access to resources today that we never had even just a few years ago. And so that's why the opportunities are almost limitless. And with my Invest Smart engine, like it's almost fully automated. So people, I can hit a button and it'll tell me the stocks to purchase over the next, 1 to 2 years that are gonna generate huge returns. All of this has not ever been available before. So that's why I say the opportunities are huge and it's almost limitless.
I love that word limitless, and I'm so glad just your words and your verbiage is really, I feel like stimulating, activating, and inspiring folk. So share one of your money stories of a client who you worked with who was struggling initially. I know you got hundreds, but now they just like a baller or something. They just really all of that.
So Steve started working with me about 4 months ago, 5 months ago, and he does the voiceover for books. So he does audiobooks. And he was really struggling. He came to me after joining another program and basically not making any money in the
Mm.
6 months prior. So his business was basically at zero. And he came to me depressed, like he was like really low vibration, like depression, sadness. And when he came on, I was like, wow, this guy's really low vibe. And we got on the call and he's like, I know I need your help. Let's go. So he was open minded, coachable, willing to get out of his comfort zone and not making any money. And so I taught him basically the techniques we've been talking about today. I gave him affirmations, I gave him audio files, I gave him some of the manifestation techniques. And he started coming onto the calls with a different attitude. And then last month, he manifested $17,000. And what's even more cool is he says, this came out of the blue, and I'm like, Steve, nothing is out of the blue when you're working with me, right? You manifested this. So what happened was he used to do consulting for energy companies. So that's what his before he retired and started doing this business, the audiobooks. And he, out of the blue, quote unquote, had a woman call him up and say, hey, I don't know if you're interested in doing a side gig anymore, but this company really needs your help. You're the perfect guy. And it'll be part time, 15 to 20 hours a week for the next 6 months, 120,000.
Wow. Hey guys, if you see me stooping down, that's because I just hit my power button
No
and my
worries.
power is about to go off from my computer. So keep talking, Joel.
So that was a big success story. So the important point of that was not only did he manifest 17,000 plus potentially 120,000, the important point is his vibration is in a completely different place.
I
So
bet.
he's attracting money, he's attracting abundance, he's more confident. He and he said in his video testimonial, it's not about like just being more positive. It's about being inspired, taking inspired action, right? I will say information without implementation is just entertainment.
Yeah.
I gave him the information, but he had to implement it and he did. And there are the results.
So let's talk about investment. So y'all, this is real time when my I accidentally kicked my plug off. So let's just say if somebody has a 401k and or maybe they got a savings account, but they really want to invest, what would you say to that listener? Shh.
I,
What would that look like for somebody to take that leap and say, wow, and could you help them do that?
Absolutely. And I will say what's most different about me is I'm not going to teach you something that I feel is best. We have to get on a call because I want to hear your mindset around stocks or bonds or crypto or real estate or all the opportunities. I mean, there's commodities, there's a lot, vending machines. I want to hear what your belief level is on each of these. Because if your belief level is a one, and I've had people come to me and say the stock market's risky, there's no way I'm putting $1 in that. I'm not. If I are you open minded? Are you willing to change that belief? No, there's no way I'm doing that. Okay, well, we're not going to invest in stocks because you know what's going to happen. You're going to be buying when you should be selling and selling when you should be buying, right? And so belief is everything. Money mindset is everything. And so I would never stand up on stage and say you have to invest in stocks or you have to invest in real estate or crypto because every person's different. They have different beliefs, and we need to understand where yours are before you start getting involved. And that's what's different about me compared to a financial advisor, financial planner. They're going to just put you in 60% stocks, 30% bonds, 5% real estate, 5% gold, and everyone's like in this box. That's not how the world works.
And so you would actually, it sounds like it would be more customized.
Customized for the individual. Yeah.
Right, right. And you would lead them, direct them, and share with them which way they should move. So this is a question one of my friends said. I want you to ask him this question. So for somebody who is in the stock market, how much does their belief around their investment impact the amount of money that they get?
100%.
Hmm.
So I had a guy, Raphael, come to me 6 years ago, and I asked him the question. And he said, Joel, I see your background. I believe you can teach me. I'm a 12, 1 to 10. I believe I can double my money in 1 to 2 years working with you. I'm a 12. I'm off the charts. And in 4 months, he made 120%. 120% in 4 months, not a year, not 2 years, 4 months, because he believed. And I had another person come to me last year, and I didn't ask the question until he already had started working with me. My chagrin, bad me. Um, And he was a three. I shouldn't have accepted him as a client in the stock market because he was, I've never made money. I've always screwed it up, and that's how he came to me, but I didn't ask him the number. And when the number is so low, he shouldn't be investing in the stock market. He's going to create, low returns or no returns, whereas Raphael is going to create high returns.
Wow, that is so interesting. So our belief actually attracts money to
Yeah,
us.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
and look, you're picking in the 401k, people are picking mutual funds, they're picking, different types of, within the different index funds and so on. So the overall market is, maybe this year it's up 5 or 8% or something. But if you're in a different fund, you could be losing money. And another fund, you could be making a lot more money. Right. And so it really, and the same thing, people say to me, well, I'm not good with money, so I'll just give it to a financial advisor. Well, you've attracted a financial advisor who's probably not good with money.
Yeah.
and so, and so you're going to get not the average or not better than average returns from that person because of what your beliefs are. And that's how it works. It's you, and then they'll say, well, you know that guy's or that woman's responsible for my poor returns. No, you chose them. You're still responsible for your money. You have to take responsibility for all aspects of your life.
So what would you say to people who've been saying, Constance, Joel, I've been praying to God for my financial breakthrough. I'm sure you've heard that so many. What would you say to people who are in that vibe?
Well, praying's fine, and I don't know any billionaires who just sit at home and pray.
Mm,
They take action, and they're taking inspired action after the prayer, after the visualization, after the meditation. So I would say do both, pray and take inspired action, right? Taking action breeds clarity, and mood follows action. You need to take action.
I love that answer. So your latest book, tell us about that. What
So,
is that title? What is that book about? And what inspired you to write that?
so Your Path to Purpose and Prosperity is a co-authored book with Jackie Roberge. Jackie is a purpose coach, and she came to me a few years ago and said, we're going to write a book together. I had a dream. We're writing a book together. And I said, okay, let's get on a call. And she said, look, and I truly agree with her that if you're on purpose, if you're doing your inspired action, if your business is what you truly believe you're inspired to do, you're going to be more prosperous. And
Hmm.
I've seen that over and over again with my clients, right? They just need direction with the mindset, but the yoga teacher, meditation teacher, wellness facility owner, the psychic, the life coach, they all have this massive vision. And it's it's really important. So they have their purpose, right? It's just making sure they have an alignment and they have the business acumen. And so that's where I believe I can help and then ensure that they have the prosperity that that is their birthright. And so that the book is an interactive book. So Jackie goes through all the chapters to it's really for people who are not like us. They're really searching. They're trying to figure out why they're here, what they're uh, I aligned my hobby and my career by doing this, right? By
Yes.
investing. And so, figuring out what those hobbies are and getting to a place where you can make money from it is, a number of the exercises that we go through. And it's a very introspective book, a lot of exercises in each chapter. So you can figure out what your purpose is and then take action on it and then create abundance from it.
So, do you feel really fulfilled doing what you do? I know the answer to that. What does that feel like to you? Do you feel purposeful?
Absolutely. So, I shut down my hedge fund in order to coach, and I didn't need to. I was doing really well, but I had a calling when I went to a personal development course, and there was a guy standing on stage in front of 200 people saying, "There's only one way to get rich, and that's stock options." And I
Mm.
was sick to my stomach. Day two of the conference, people would tap me on the shoulder, with Mary Joel, does this make sense? Options risk free. So we went out of the auditorium. I told them, please don't do this. There's there's many ways to get rich, and he doesn't know any of you individually, and he didn't know your belief about stock options. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm teaching people the truth about money, and it warms my heart when I see the light bulb go off, when I see Steve, generate $17,000 in a month after many months of zeros, and then having potentially $120,000 more come in 6 months. I've had Raphael generate over $2 million in 4 months in the stock market. So, but but again, with Steve and with Raphael, what so warms my heart is seeing the shift from lack and scarcity thinking to prosperity consciousness, and that's what really lights me up. When I can help them make that shift, then and they can help others with that shift, then it's just awesome.
I love that. So you have so many money groups and all kinds of services available to our listeners. Share with our listeners what some of your offerings are. How can we get your book? What is your website? All of the above.
So the website Solomor. So my company name is named after my daughters. Salaur for Lauren, Mor for Morgan, Solomor.com. And so I really right now have one main offering,
Okay.
and it combines the fast track prosperity coaching with the Money Miracles Mastermind Group. And it's a 1 year program where we take people from wherever they are towards financial freedom during that 1 year. And it's mindset, it's manifestation, it's business strategy, and investing. And it's all in one, it's all comprehensive. And we spend 90 days on the fast track, intensive.
Wow.
So, and then after that, it's there's optional one-on-ones, and then there's the group meetings. And I've created videos on all of those topics. Plus, I have 38 guest experts on
Wow.
everything from EFT tapping to self hypnosis to digital marketing to generic mindset to a land investor expert to apartment real estate expert. Anything you can think of related to investing or business strategy or mindset or manifestation is in the Money Miracles Mastermind Group. And the Mastermind Group members have manifested $2,690,000 so far.
Wow. So give us that website again for people who are listening who might not can't see.
So it's SALAUR Solomor.com.
Well, I just want to thank you, Joel, for who you are, for your service, for your wisdom. When you share with me what your latest service is, that takes a lot of time, effort, strategy to build, that platform. And I just pray the continual blessings of the Spirit on your life. So, what would be a takeaway or closing word that you would share with listeners?
Whatever the mind of man can conceive and bring himself to believe he can achieve, conceive it, believe it, achieve it. And you've already done, anyone who's watching and listening, you've already done the first part today. You've conceived of a different financial reality for yourself.
Mhm.
The next part, you got to believe it. You got to believe that the current situation is not your permanent situation. Because I will tell you that you already have everything you need
Mm,
to become financially free.
so
It's
true.
all within you. You don't need some secret, you don't need some financial guru. It's all within you. You came here prosperous. Prosperity is your birthright. You came here. to be that way. And then, we had some well-meaning humans who did the best they could with what they knew. But look, you have to decide that you're ready, and then you will become prosperous.
Yeah. Thank you, Joel. Wow, guys, so I want you to listen to this over and over again. I want you to share this on your social media platforms. Share it with your coworkers. At least 5,000 people or 10,000 folk who are listening to this. Share this with your coworkers, with your siblings that be calling you on the phone talking about money, with your partner, with friends, so that people can get this with, the Bible said, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. And Joel has been sharing truth. He took time out of his busy schedule. And Joel, I just appreciate you so much. And as I say every week, every guys, the same energy that is holding the solar systems together, that's holding and organizing the galaxies. That same love, energy, and power is on the inside of you, supporting, loving, and giving you the power to create a life beyond your wildest dreams. Have a great week, everybody. Thank you, Joel.
Thank you, Constance.